personality. Thank you, Travis, for joining us. Right, so the way it's going to go is this. I will pick somebody, my young Tino here. He will run to you with a wireless mic, if you're chosen. Speak into the microphone, ask your question. I will give this to whoever you select. So, for example, if you've got a question for Travis, say, my question is for Travis, ask your question, I'll give the microphone to Travis, or whoever is nominated. So, this is only 40 minutes, and we're back on time, so thank you for coming back. I realise it's a long day. It's an even longer day for all the helpers and things that we've got to clean up at the end. And just before I actually go into this, I think it's only right now that I want you to applaud my staff, please, because I think they do a fantastic work in making this work. We've become quite a close-knit group. It's a question of friends, family, etc. But over a period of time, you get to know these people and you can rely on them. And once they're into the fold and they've got my trust, then they hopefully feel a part of a team. The fact that I'm up here, the fact that these people arrive, can only happen with that team. You cannot do a conference without a good team, and I've got a fantastic team. So thanks once again. Right, okay. So, when I say put your hand up for a question, put your hand up for a question. First gentleman there, David Caton. David Caton, ask away.
Thank you, thank you. Enjoyed all the presentations, thank you. Got questions for Mike Freebury.
Mike Freebury.
Okay.
Hello, David.
Hello, Mike. Nice to see
you. Okay now?
Yes, thanks. Yes, thanks, yep.
Good.
What I'm intrigued to know is, from the location you took all these automatic photographs between you and Winston Keach, how come you chose that particular location? What had been happening there to make you set up the cameras for so long to take all those millions of pictures?
Because, as you probably know, I've done a number of surveillances in that area.
Yes, yes.
And the original interest, as you may also know, was because of animal mutilation attacks, which was something I was more involved in at that time. But as we got on, we never had any more mutilation cases, not on that farm anyway. So when the project ended in July 2010, I'm talking about Project Corridor,
right?
And when that sort of finished in July 2010, I decided in September I was going to continue with the surveillances. And that's when I spoke to Win Keach. So that's basically how it came about. But it was animal mutilations that originally drew me there. But of course, as you well know, I've witnessed quite a lot since then.
Right. Yeah, thanks very much.
Does that answer it, David?
Yes, thanks, Mike. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Hands up in the air. Somebody shouting out? Yeah, but I can't see your hand, so I won't allow shouting out. So when I'll go to somebody. Okay, so the gentleman at the back there, 4th or 5th row back, his hand up in the air. Now, unfortunately, the disadvantage with being on the stage is that there's glaring lights, so I can't even see you. So I thought that was God. But no, it's this gentleman there, 2 next to you. So I'll come back to you. Right, so who's your question for?
Travis.
Travis Walton?
Yeah. What was in your mind when you ran towards it? What were you going to do, or what did you think would happen?
When it happened, basically, what did you think?
Okay, now the question was, what in the world was in my mind when I got out of that truck? Is that...
No. When you were running towards the saucer.
Oh,
What-
yeah,
what
the,
do you go to do?
the overriding thought that I had was escape. Somehow open a door. And I, you know, in my unclear thinking, thought that all I had to do was open a door and drop 15 feet to the ground. But probably not likely at that point, but that was everything I was trying to do, was open a door and get out of there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, hands in the air. Who's this gentleman up here?
Yeah, Jamie.
Right. You're going to have to shout because Tino is not that young or fast. So ask your question for who?
For Travis.
For Travis, go on.
I want to ask Travis, in the film, there were a couple of gentlemen, researchers, when he was first found after the 5 days, who they were, and if you had any contact with them in the days after that, they were trying to investigate if they were true or just part of the film.
Part of the film.
Yeah, he's saying it was very real characters that were trying to investigate.
Oh, they basically combined a number of investigators involved. There was one really kind of, I don't know how to describe it, a UFO investigator group that were kind of disreputable, that, you know, actually came to cooperate with the debunkers because they lost the case. They thought they had it. They said, my brother said he needs a doctor. They sent us to this guy who was a fake doctor. So we said, we'll forget you. And then because they had bragged to the media that the case was theirs, they then turned on the case and started attacking it. And so that was where that afar came from it was actually Ground Saucer Watch, which no longer exists. But that guy still exists. I had a call here in the last couple of years from a girl who was employed where he works, and he's a very unsavory character. Anyway, we did wind up cooperating with a very reputable group. At that time, the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization was the oldest and largest UFO investigative group. You know, had academics, professors, you know, college people in their membership all over the world. And MUFON was formed sometime after that. Then there were other groups like NICAP. But, you know, we have a whole new crop of investigators in this day and age. I think that answered your question.
I hope so. Right. This gentleman here. Tino's coming to you. Stand up, help him. Reach. Right, who's your question for?
My question is for Travis.
Okay.
On the face of it, I think it's a simple question, but I'd like to understand the smells that you associate with the abduction case. Smells.
The smells?
Yeah.
I get that question a lot, and you know, I know that smells are very keenly associated with memory, and there have been times where a certain smell will trigger a certain memory very vividly, and so that's a very relevant question. But curiously, all the impression I have about odors on there was a high humidity and a staleness with no specific odor. But I was in an injured condition at that point. I had just been hit with a blast of energy in the head and chest, and I think it not only interfered with my breathing, that it also interfered with the sense of smell. So whatever odors were present might not have been easily registered at that point.
I'll actually add a little bit to that, what you said about smell being relevant. As an advanced interviewer of suspects and witnesses, part of the training, actually, when you try to elicit with, say, a witness, to try to get as much information as possible, you don't go into a hypnotic state, but what you do is part of that preparation is to try to get them to relax, concentrate, focus on being willing to concentrate. Because that's what you want. You basically want them to look down, look up, or whatever, and that tells you that they're concentrating. But part of it is to do with your senses. So, for example, if it's just before a major terrorist attack or something like that, you might be saying, and you're trying to unblock a memory, you'll be trying to say, right, what was the weather like on that day? It was cold, it was foggy. But you said a very interesting thing, and this is why you do this, and you're trying to put that person back without being under hypnosis, because you're conscious all the time, but what you're trying to do is get them to concentrate as to being back there, and when the way you can do that is by triggering their senses. Do you remember anything that just happened before? Or what were you doing just before? And then they suddenly go, I was reading the newspaper, and then I smelled something, and this is what you get, and it's called retrieving fresh smell. When somebody suddenly goes, Ch, and they've retrieved this information. So you learn memory tools, and one of them is your senses. So when Travis said there about smell is important, it is. So one of the questions may be, what did you smell just before it? And it may seem so trivial, but it provoked a response. Sometimes it will trigger. When it does, you retrieve a genuine memory, and it's called a piece of fresh snow. Like not trodden on, yeah? Serene, fresh snow. All right, so that's a bit of background. Let's have a question from this side, because you've all gone to sleep, I think. All right, man at the back, Tino. Back row-ish. Yeah. Were you supposed to be running then? Right, there you go. Who's your question for?
My question will be for Larry and obviously yourself as well, Gary. It's in regard to the Rendlesham Forest.
All right, half of us will stand together. You just want to swap there? Right, so, go on. How's your question?
Okay.
Enough robots out there.
Okay. In the halt tape, there was there's a blank. There's a gap in the tape. Is there not?
Well, I wouldn't say that. What I think what you're referring to is what he had was a small dictaphone, and he was used to going to meetings, and so to help him remember what was said during the meeting, just mundane official military meetings, he'd go, I must write a letter to so and so, get my secretary or whatever to do it.
Yeah.
So he would do it as an anecdote. So when he went out into the forest, he doesn't record the whole incident, although there are some people say that there is more tape, but as far as I'm aware there isn't. And what you have is a series of snapshots, yeah? So if you listen to the tape, they're little brief 30-second updates. 110, we're by the forest, we're by the creek, and he's given a brief description of where they are. Yeah, we can see lights moving, they're moving through the trees, it's under the trees. And that kind of thing. They're little snapshots of a live incident. But collectively, I think they're incredibly powerful. And it's an 18-minute tape, and if you've not heard it, it's freely available on YouTube, etc., etc. I'll let Larry talk about that, because he was there.
Yeah, sorry, just one moment. The reason I'm actually asking is because Larry's incident seems to have happened during that space of time that seems to be missing from the events on the tape.
Well,
and could they not be one event?
You actually move into a very controversial area, because widely speaking, Larry's area Holt hits. Because if Larry is telling the truth, in reality, if you've ever been to Rendlesham Forest, that field, the farmer's field, is actually not that big.
That's right.
And in reality, 2 incidents are going on in the same field.
Could it not be one incident going on and
I think we've quite established that in a sense, 2 incidents. Larry's Capel Green, where people are surrounding a yellow fog that's on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah? I'm going to pass you back to Larry, but essentially, there are 2 incidents. But nobody ever talks about the fact that in theory, if I was in a field 500 yards away, in an open field, I should be able to see vice versa. But that's the reality. There is only one farmer's field.
To clear it up, on that night, Holt was with a small group of guys. They were very far away. You'd have to go to Capel Green, it's unchanged, and see it. They were out near the farmer's house. They were on the other side of it. Halt, as we know, went to the other farm, the other field behind it, came back through and would have walked right into where Bastins and me, Robert Ball, everybody else had this thing going on. I was there the same night. I heard the transmissions. The same Bruce England brought us out and then joined Halt's team, and I was with other senior people. So that all happened one night. If you're trying to, not you personally, whoever asked the question, is that, you know, well, how come Halt doesn't say, you know, these guys are there? Well, in reality is we weren't with him, his team. And when I first, I'm the one that put that tape into the public realm when the Japanese gave it to me in 1984 in Japan. And I can recall, I can't tell you what it was like the night when this is all popping out, to sit in my father's living room, and the Junichi Aoi, who was with Nippon Television, said, I have the tape. And the reason he had, and I'm like, what tape? We had the document that was in the, you know, that came out through me, and, you know, people don't like it, it's the fact. But why this tape? And he played it. And I can't tell you what I felt like hearing that, because October #1, I could do the tape for you verbatim here, is that there were many command posts and relays coming on that, and my unit was on it, Busty was on it, he was going back to get Lidls when he got us. I really suggest, if you haven't, look at all the evidence for yourselves. Don't look at Facebook all the time. You know, Goebbels had the best, you know, when you write lies with authority, the dummies will buy it. Find out for yourselves. Listen to Adrian Bastin's thing on KGRA radio with Burroughs there, and then I'm on it, and another guy named Smith is on it. And forget this Linda Howe thing. It's not irrelevant to what Gary is doing, but listen to the people that were there. There's no magic to it. As far as Halt's tape, it is exactly as Gary said. I know Colonel Halt, I worked for him. I knew him before the incidents, and we know each other since. But I'm not going to get into that thing with Halt. The tape was put on and off because he only had limited batteries. There was a massive missing time element with all of us. Now, a number of us talk quite often, believe it or not. And you know, the Burroughs-Peniston thing is what you hear about. It's the sexy version of Rendlesham now. And people dig that, but the reality is that a lot of guys, they're the ones on my Facebook that go, we know the truth, brother. Well, those are guys that were actually there. Now, I'm not going to tell you their names. The retired law enforcement, all kinds. The tape was simply just as Halt made it. The piano you hear is a piano recital from an officer, someone's daughter, that was recorded over. And there was the gap in the piano, ding, 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 checkpoint, right? And it moves on. You must listen to this tape. It is historic. It is on YouTube. I'm the reason it got out there. The Jap said, do not give it to anyone. I ran like a schoolgirl to CNN, turned it over to them for no money. It was sold all around England, and none of you got to hear it. It was the highest bidder on this stuff. I put it out. So the tape was just as he recorded it in his zone. Lots more happened to Halt than what he says. I don't speak for others. But there's no mystery. It wasn't recorded in a building. It was duped from a mini cassette, this 1980 technology, onto a tape recorder. That's how the other Sam Morgan got the tape. And that's where he had it in a drawer and would play it at cocktail parties to humiliate Halt. If you wonder why Halt has issues with me, you know, I mean, it caused him hell, not my intention. But the tape is all legit. Different part of the field, lots going on, a lot of people than the 4 schoolgirls. Trust me.
Thank you very much indeed.
All right, Carl, Tino, come on. Up there, up there, up there, up there. You don't have to.
Thank you very much.
Right, Carl, go on. Who's your question for?
My question's for Mike.
Mike Freebury.
At the one of the last slides that you showed in your presentation had a horse with that figure, the black kind of mass next to it. And I know that in the next slide on, which was 1 minute later, it was all gone. I just wondered if there was any follow-up to the horse, anyone reported it missing, if anyone noticed, if you got any other information.
It's a good question. I mean, I don't know how quickly a horse that appears to be completely comatose can get up to its feet and then gallop out of the field, which it must have done, in order that it wouldn't be seen by the second photograph that was taken. I thought, initially when I saw it, I thought that the horse was dead. But I have seen that horse, or one similar. There is a horse that's allowed to run between the fields. If you were in the area regularly, you would probably know about this. Just the one horse. And to me, it looked like that horse. So whatever that being was thinking of or was doing to that horse, it doesn't seem to me to have been terminal. But I have seen the horse since, and when I saw it I thought, well, it can't be the one in the picture.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Gary, up here. Gary. Gary, up here.
No, just wait a minute. We're still... No, I've forgotten my sick ball, but this is actually the raffle. And so I'm just going to take 2 seconds to ask Nicholas and for the first dive for the first prize of the raffle. You're not supposed to look at the numbers. People will accuse you of colluding. All right, don't overegg it. Read out the number and what colour is the ticket?
122, light blue. White,
I would say that's white. 122, stick your hand up if you got it. Would you say that's white 122? Yeah, white 122. Nick, I think you need to go to the... get your eyes tested. Right, thank you for that. So have we got anybody there? Stick your hand up. Right. At the end of this session, come and see my wife, who will be by reception. And you'll get your 2 tickets for next year's conference for you and your partner free from the magazine. Right, second, right, Mike Freebury. Don't look. The colour of the ticket is... Can't get the stuff, can you? Whitish. White 324. Thank you. Yeah, it's white 324. We got that in the room? White 324. And another gentleman, are you white through 324? Or have you just got something wrong with your arm? White 324. So come and see my wife at the end of proceedings. And the last one, Travis. See, look. Professional to the end. And the colour is... Oh, come on. Put it against the notepad.
4, 3, 2.
So white, is that right? White 432? Yep, so 3 whites. So white 432, year's free subscription. If you haven't, if you've already subscribed, you get another year's free on top of that. Okay, so that's the 3 from today. We'll repeat it again tomorrow at the Q&A, so you can get a lot more raffle opportunities tomorrow. So I will give my sick ball back to my wife. Thank you. Right, and back to the questions before he ties himself up. Right, yes, there's a gentleman up there. Yes, I can see your armpit. Yes, go on.
Question for Mike.
Question for Mike. Well, tell me it and I'll relay it.
Were all the light beams coming down from the sky, or could they tell, was there any light beams actually emanating upwards from the ground?
Right, so during your investigations, at any point were lights coming up from the ground as opposed to going down to the ground?
Well, I've not actually seen the beams coming down or going up. We're obviously dependent on the cameras. But it is interesting that Wynne Keach has done some analysis on this, and he's noted that sometimes they appear to be coming down and sometimes they appear to be going up. There was a time when we thought that they might be something to do with electromagnetic fields, because we placed a camera near an electromagnetic field and it came up with these truncated beams moving up and down. So it's very difficult to say. I would suggest that the larger beams that are coming down are probably from somewhere in the air, and they're coming down to the ground for some purpose. But what that purpose is, I couldn't tell you. So I'm sorry I can't be more precise than that.
Thank you. You nearly went for the second question there. That would have been cheeky. I saw you hovering. Right, this gentleman here. Who's your question for?
It's a question for Larry.
For Mary?
For Larry.
Larry?
Hi, Larry. It's been acknowledged today that obviously you were one of the original whistleblower, which is obviously a brave and difficult thing to do, given that you were in the military. And there seems to be a groundswell of ex-military coming out now. People like Robert Salas and Robert Hastings getting ex-American personnel to talk about their experiences to do with the Minuteman missiles being switched off due to UFO activity. What I wanted to know is, since the incident actually happened over the years, how have ex-colleagues of yours reacted to you who weren't involved in the incident, and has anybody over the years recounted their own experiences to you?
Who's the first one that reacted to me? Because so many react to me in different ways.
Well,
what was the reaction of the colleagues not involved at the time?
Right. When it happened, I didn't come out with this until '82, so I was out of the service, honorably. And there was a progression of how it came out. It wasn't my plan. I didn't want to be a personality in the flying saucer world and all that. It was very different. You know, when a lot of the characters that worked with Travis, I knew, you know, and probably they're not on Earth anymore. Some shouldn't be. And then I hope they're in a good place. But I think with the, you know, when I did the nukes, I got sick of, I'm the one that blew the whistle on the nukes also. Because I come over here and the British government, Her Majesty's government, would say, these events were of no defense significance. Well, I got kind of sick of that, you know. And someone in a conference said to me in Nottingham, long before our book came out, they said, well, you know, they said just that. And so there must not have been. I said, really? And I'm a patriot all the way. I love my country. I don't like what elements within the apparatus have done to me and my brothers and many other people in the world. This country has its own apparatus that is just as vile, trust me. And I live here. I pay taxes, so I can say it. And I think, I said, well, we have the largest backline tactical nuclear weapons storage facility in NATO. Now people go, oh, that was Greenham Common. No, it wasn't. That was a diversion. Our motto was better on their fence than ours. Now the CND folks from them days go, it was what we did, you know, and so we kept them there. And of course, well, you weren't a nuclear base. And I go, we weren't. But you never keep the assets with the delivery system, which was F-111s just north of us. They come in, swoop, and then go to Germany. You know, the front line was East and West Germany for the younger people. The world was very different. So when I did that, I said, well, we have these nukes. And I always felt like that's one place I shouldn't go. To date, and I will give them credit, I did that. I lost my US passport. I'm not a felon for almost a year. It took former Attorney General. You never heard this because the ufologists in America didn't even support me. Said this was real whistleblower proof, right? Nothing, nothing. All the shining lights, nothing, nothing. I did this on my own with the support of good friends and family. And that was it, man. I don't know nothing to that, particularly over there. But I won't bitch about that now. And the internet's a whole other game, we'll go there. But anyway, he's going, don't do it. But you know, it's like Lenny Bruce reincarnated, I know, but I've been clean today. But at the end of the day, got it out. I paid for it with having my right to, as a U.S. citizen, to a passport. We understand that right very well. And a lot of people fought and died for it. They took mine because they didn't want me coming over here to do any more yakking. Well, at the end of the day, you didn't know about it because the Golden Lights didn't care, frankly. And so anyway, I did that. But then I had the reaction of some brothers almost as traitorous, you know, you get that. I still haven't, you know, snitch. No matter what the cause is, snitch. It's there. There's that psychology is amazing in this. And at the end of the day, we did have nukes. It was extreme defense significance to your country. And these things were interested in it. And I wasn't on the base when these things were above it. But this is a reason to forget what it was, an alien or the people from Atlanta. What does Pennison say? They're from the island of Ireland or somewhere. And they're crazy in Ireland. It probably was Irish people. And then, hi, Brazil. Is that our Brazil, all right? And that, they're from there. And whatever works for people with the, oh God, it's sexy, man. But the reality is, this took lives. What's my motivation? Seeing a brother top himself happen. They deny it. I don't know what they told his parents. You see, we were all a different community. We had different religious denominations all crowded onto an airbase. Yep. And so you had different reactions to all things, from the devil to this and that. And it all happened that way. You should be goddamn mad about it. It happened in your country because it affected local people too. And so that's the answer. I guess I forget the question now, but thanks for asking.
Thank you. Can you see why I was so aggressive in that interview? Bloody come back to the question, will you? But he's a good raconteur, and his anecdotes are always fascinating, but trying to get him to concentrate on one spot is not so easy. Is it, Larry? Thank you for that. Right, I think we've probably got 2 questions. We've got 10 minutes. This gentleman here.
A question for Travis, please.
Question for Travis.
Was your encounter a one-off, or has there been anything since?
Yeah, any more experiences?
Well, I only talk about the things that, you know, I can corroborate, and I did have one event here a couple of years ago where I was with some other people, and we had a giant black triangle come over the top of us, unmistakable, and you know, had, you know, 15 or 20 other witnesses, so I can talk about that. It was really interesting. I don't know whether these black triangles are some secret military project or alien or both, but we definitely saw it, and amongst others.
And will you be talking about that tomorrow? In your lecture tomorrow, will you be talking about this other experience? No. Quick answer? No. Right, so you got it right. One more question. This gentleman over here.
Hi, it's for Mike.
Mike, question for Mike.
The area where you set the cameras up and that, has been a lot of military activity? Because usually with the animal mutilations, military seem to fly over the spots and that, black helicopters, stuff like that. Anything like that around the area?
Animal mutilations. Yeah, there is military activity. The SAS train in the area, and I had an amazing experience. Well, it wasn't amazing; it was frightening at the time. We're doing an all-night surveillance with Wynne, and it was about 20 past midnight, and all of a sudden there was an outbreak of gunfire, and it was absolutely horrendous. There was shell fire, small arms fire, machine gun fire, and I can only say that it was like being on Omaha Beach in 1944. It was absolutely horrendous, but we couldn't see anything. We couldn't see any muzzle flashes. We couldn't see where the sound was coming from at all. But it sounded as though it was right on top of us. And then suddenly, 10 minutes later, it stopped. And we never heard anything again. I mean, on another occasion, completely contrary to that, we did hear, myself and a colleague did hear childlike voices. Now, this is a place you wouldn't take any child to this hill on a dark night, you just wouldn't. But the voices could be heard. We did some patrols, and these voices could be heard even a quarter of a mile away, which is very, very strange. But the military gunfire and everything, I thought, well, this has got to be something to do with special forces. But we couldn't see the origin of it, which is absolutely amazing. I've seen, and I've got some video footage of an Apache attack helicopter buzzing a farmhouse, which was quite unpleasant. So that was during the daytime. Does that answer your question?
It does, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now it is probably squeeze one more question in. I think I saw this. I could argue that that's too much of a shirt. It's a bit blinding, but give him.
Thank you. Thanks, Gary. Question for Andy.
Andy Thomas.
Hiya, mate.
Go ahead.
Are you aware of the cloning centres and the Don Marshall? He's on YouTube, the cloning centres. Anything about that?
Explain a little bit more.
It's the cloning centres. I don't know if you're familiar with a film, the audience might be, with a film called The Island.
Yes.
With McGregor, it's based on that sort of thing. Are you aware of anything? Can you tell the audience?
I don't have any inside knowledge into that at all, but that kind of thing going on, it wouldn't really surprise me at all. Obviously, yes, The Island is a very fictional version of that, but yeah, I mean, I think there are facilities all around the world with all kinds of things going on that are probably very gruesome and rather unpleasant, and probably that's the very last thing they would want anybody to be talking about at all. Do you have any specific information about it yourself?
No, just maybe urge the audience to have a look at it themselves if they're that into the conspiracy that way of it. The cloning centres.
There's generally a conspiracy in everything, and sadly, as we can see looking around the world today, we are clearly not told the truth of anything, and therefore we're going to get conspiracy theories growing. In the end, I think we do get to conspiracy facts, but when we do, I don't know if you've noticed this, things then get reclassified as scandals. They don't call them conspiracies, and when something like the Hillsborough cover-up breaks, funny how it then comes out of that realm and it just becomes normal news. So that's why they never have to admit that these things were conspiracies in the first place. But yes, sadly, there's probably a lot of awful, very gruesome things going on, but the more people that ask questions about it, the more we keep raising a row about it, the more it will have to be exposed, and there will come a time where they're not going to be able to cover this stuff up.
Thank you, and keep digging. Thank you.
Thank you.
Centres.
Right.